recording. You want to do the intro, Yahe?
Yep, it is 7:06 p.m. This is the leadership committee meeting. We currently have a quorum. We will get started. And first item on the agenda is the minutes, reviewing April's minutes. Like to, since Jeremy sent the minutes about an hour ago, they've also, I think they were also available prior to that. But if Jeremy if you can pull up the minutes real quick. I'd like to call for a motion to approve April's leadership committee minutes. Do I have a second?
I seconded Andrea.
Thank you, Andrea. Any discussion? Anyone against? Any abstentions? All right, so the minutes passed unanimously. And while we're on the minutes, if it would be great if I can get a volunteer to take minutes for tonight's meeting. I promised Hazel that I would not ask her to take the minutes again. She has taken a lot of minutes. Do I have any volunteers?
I'll take the minutes
Anyone?
again this time, Yahe.
Okay, Veronica, thank you very much. All right, moving on to item number 2, which is the draft full board agenda. Jeremy, if you can pull that up. All right, going down to the first 5 items are pretty routine. So we'll skip over and go to item number 6, which is committee reports. There is a street co-naming application. And I think we need to vote on it tonight, right, Jeremy? They didn't get a chance, the Transportation Committee did not get a chance to vote on it because they didn't have all the paperwork. Is that correct?
Yeah, not all the members had the paperwork, so I sent it out to the entire board, as you may recall. And so everybody should have received it, whether they looked at it or not, it's another story. Did you receive it, Yahe?
I did. I opened it. I don't recall much of it. Would you be able to pull that up, just the application?
I don't. There's information on there that's not public, so I don't want to like contact information. So I don't want to expose.
When did you send that email? I'll try to go back and look for it real quick.
Hold on.
A good 2 weeks ago, if not longer, Yahe.
Okay. I just want to refresh my memory. And then
It had
we'll call for a
pictures, it
motion
had the
for it.
petition, it had the pictures, it had a synopsis of why they want to name the street and what the new owners have done for the community and what the old owners had done for the community.
It's May 4th. May 4th around 4:40 p.m.
Okay. We'll go for it now. I see the 444 email that as we exchanged, we went back and forth with emails. Right, 1 second, I'm opening it up right now.
I believe the applicant's here in the meeting too, so if we have any direct questions, if necessary, you can always ask. I could also share like page 3. I don't think that has anything critical in terms of like personal contact information.
Well, with the street co-naming, does it have to be an individual? I thought it had to be an individual. It can't be a thing.
No, they have like Hip Hop Boulevard, I believe, things like that throughout the city.
Only because I'm looking at the honorees should have a blah, 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 blah. Individuals must have demonstrated. So it says individuals must have demonstrated. It doesn't say, doesn't give any leeway there. Individuals must be deceased or terminally ill. So it keeps mentioning individuals in our bylaw, in the application. That's my only concern.
I would say that that's a requirement for individuals, not a restriction for non-individuals. Let me look at the that's actually that's basically that's the application itself. So
Additionally, there was, I don't mind if I chime in. This is Rich Vitaco, the applicant. Additionally, there had been as Jeremy had stated, one for Hip Hop Boulevard and also one for another business in the West Bronx, Loser's Deli. And I had confirmed with Farah from Councilmember Joe Nye's office that there can be exceptions for that in certain circumstances such as this.
So if you look at page 2 of that application, you'll see it says for an individual honoree, there are these, restrictions. Yeah, the committee should probably review how we go about with non-individuals and probably amend this form.
Okay.
I think most street code names are after individuals, but I wouldn't say just because this is geared towards, or at least focuses on that, I don't know, say that should negate it. I mean, if the city council negates it, that's a different story. I mean, that's not up to us though. I mean, with Rabbi's here, and I think Lisa's also part of transportation. I don't know if anybody else got a chance to review it or want to talk about what happened in committee. If there was anything that was noteworthy that you saw with the application.
Yeah, and I'm flagging it only because we took a lot of heat with the last co-naming because the individual, didn't reside here, and then the way it's worded, it should versus, must. It doesn't say the person must have resided here. It says should, which is like a recommendation, and then we used Mother Teresa as an example, and then people said, well, that's different. We got a lot of pushback on that one, and I just don't want to make the same mistake again because it's going to ultimately come back if we get some resistance from the community. If there's no resistance, I don't think anybody cares, but the problem is when you get resistance, then
Yeah,
I'm
hey,
just looking at,
this is Andrew.
Yeah.
I have resistance towards it for a few reasons.
okay. I know we usually bring up the reasons during discussion, but I haven't called for a motion for it yet, so you can go ahead and if you want to.
Okay, the first thing was, I don't have a problem with the name being Conti's Bakery. I have a problem with, it's not in the family anymore, and they're making it sound like this is a family-owned operation. This has been sold in the past 10 years to new people, and if it had been sold to somebody in the family, I would have no objection. But since it's not a family member, that's my main objection.
I agree with it. Sheila.
So, anybody from the Transportation Committee want to chime in?
David Levitt is not
Can
here.
you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you,
Oh,
Debbie.
yeah, Debbie, you're on Transportation. I forgot. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else? If not, I guess, do you want to take a vote, guy? Or do you want?
Hello, hello.
Hey, Rabbi.
Okay, so I guess the question will be now, are you setting a precedent for the future? The next, everybody will come around and this store was here 40 years and this store was 50 years. I'm not against this thing, but I'm just worrying if everybody's gonna come from all over Community Board 11 and say, well, you did it for a bakery, let's do it for a deli, let's do it for a pizza store. I mean, the thing with the name of it's really being named after Conti, who was the original person. So there's a person flavor inside of this, but they're really saying do it Conti Bakery. If they called it, I don't know, John Conti Way, maybe people would like it a little better because you're not publicizing, or for lack of a better word, a business. So
I agree.
I'm more worried about precedent. We've done people, but I don't think we've ever done a business. And I have nothing against that business. The fact that it has been sold is true. That's true. But the fact of the matter is this Conti was there for how many years? I don't know, 100 years?
100 years,
100 years, he's there for 100 years.
right.
And for that, I think, I don't know how I do this, Mr. Chairman here, but would they accept we just name it Conti Way without throwing in the bakery in?
I agree. Very good points, Rabbi. And that was going to be my next question. Have we named anything after a business? And since we haven't, like you said, this would set a precedent for the future. And I don't think we want to go that route until we are sure what we're doing is 100% correct. And I agree again with the on two things. If it was the same owner, okay, we would probably look at it a little differently. But and if it was just the owner's name, Conti's Way, I think we would vote on it right away. But since it has the word bakery, and I don't want others to see that we're advertising a business. If another bakery opens up across the street, then it could lead to issues. So I'd like to table this. If anyone has any issues with tabling it, and let the Transportation Committee look at it again in June. They are still going to meet in June. One more meeting before we go away for the summer. So is everyone okay with that?
So,
I'm fine.
so question, considering whether it's Conti Bakery Boulevard or Conti Pastry Shop Boulevard or just Augusto Conti Boulevard, the 100th anniversary is in October. So if it is tabled to June, that's the concern, I would guess, because I guess it would have to pass the city council by the end of June. And if, I think that would be kind of like a tight squeeze. So
Yeah.
would you be amenable to Augusto Conti Boulevard as opposed to Conti Pastry Shop Boulevard?
Well, first, I think the deadline to submit the street co-naming was on April 30th. That's what I was told with the previous street co-naming. I was in contact with the council member's office, and they had to be in by the end of April for a
Correct.
June vote, because in May, the city council attorneys reviews the street co-naming and then presents it to the city council in June. So you already missed the deadline.
Well, Farah had placed all the paperwork in by the end of the month. So for all intents and purposes, they do have the paperwork. It's just a technicality of saying, you know, Augusto Conti Boulevard versus Conti Pastry Shop Boulevard.
Okay,
That's
so, but I think it would be an issue because we changed the name already. And what they have is different from, if we voted on Augusto Conte Way today, then it wouldn't matter because they submitted a different paperwork.
Correct. But she still needs, obviously, she still needs paperwork either here or there for, I guess, for the leadership committee or for eventually the full board. So they're still waiting for more paperwork, quite honestly, if you look at it logically. So whether it's, so that's my thing.
Okay. Like I said, we won't be able to do the motion today. So it won't carry today. If they're able to wait until next week when we have the full board meeting and if the name is changed, you submit a new application and they're still willing to accept it, I think it would pass in the full board. It wouldn't have any issues with just the name without the pastry shop attached to it.
Correct.
I
So
second.
the recommendation. So the
Yeah, so
recommendation.
we're going to table it for this meeting, for tonight's meeting.
Okay.
For another for next week, and we will talk to David Levitt, who's one of the board members, and he knows the bylaws very well.
Correct.
And we'll see.
And just to chime in with one in some of the chat, yes, Loser's Deli was conamed, and unfortunately it had closed. So I mean, this is, like I said, this is a 100-year business. I mean, that doesn't come along very often. And I know Andrea's point was that yes, there's two different owners, that Conti's had it for about 80 years, and then the last 20 years was Sal Paljetic. So I mean, something that's around for 100 years and only two owners, that's quite a phenomenal feat. So that's how I'm, you know, looking at it. In comparison to Loser's Deli, unfortunately, they had closed and they still have a street name for them. So you got to look at that perspective too.
I understand, but right now we have more questions than answers. We have one of the committee members from transportation that has some concerns. I also have some concerns. A few other board members have brought up a few other concerns. So we won't be able to bring it up to the floor for a vote. I apologize.
Okay.
And we'll look into it. We'll try to get back to you early next week. And if there is a chance that we can amend it to just Conti Way, we will try our best to do it. I'll contact the councilman's office and see if we're able to amend the application and see if they're able to squeeze it in and ask for an exception since October makes 100 years. So
Correct.
we'll do that and see what happens.
Okay. Thank
So,
you.
yeah, hey, we're somewhat beyond this at this point, but just if you look at the application, which I'm sharing, number 4, it does specify you could do an individual or not-for-profit or other. So we're not restricted just to individuals on this application, even though it's probably not clear enough at the beginning.
Okay.
I'm trying to open up the handbook, Jeremy, but it won't let me open up the handbook. I was trying to see if I can search for co-naming in there because the bylaws only has one very general line in there. I don't know if the
Yeah,
handbook for community board members has anything.
I doubt it. It's,
Jeremy,
I mean,
have
it's
a question.
Yeah, Andrea.
Do they have to now redo the entire application because they wanted the name change?
Possibly the city council may require it.
Well, I think you should make them aware of that and not just put a line through it that they're omitting pastry or bakery or whatever.
Well, we will, like I said, we'll talk with the with city council. Matt, I got the handbook open now, yeah. And
Try
I'm doing
searching for code.
co-namings.
Yeah.
I don't there is
Try
anything,
it as
but
2 words and with a hyphen, see if anything comes up.
I already did co-naming. 1 word co-naming hyphen. And I'll do renaming. And I'm not getting anything. If I search the word street, I get 81 hits, but it just talks about like street conditions, street repaving.
Yeah, the
Street
last
light-
page of the bylaws on page 17 has just to make recommendation to the full board meeting regarding street co-naming and all other matters. That's just the transportation committee's duties.
Yeah, I mean, as a result of the last street co-naming, it was decided that the transportation committee should review the application. I think Chris got stuff from the city council in terms of their guidelines. Am I correct, Chris, on that?
You are very correct, and was given to the entire committee about 2 months ago.
So they should, yeah, maybe they should in June. They do have a meeting scheduled. Maybe they should review the guidelines or the form if they want to amend it in any way. Maybe we should try to get a guest from the city council. I mean, there's Farah from Mark's office, but maybe we should try to get somebody from downtown to speak on the process. I think that's another thing that confuses people is the actual process.
Well, they
On
don't
how
have
this
a
works.
process. I spoke with them. Their process is whatever they get from the community board that gets sponsored by the council member is the process. And they just do a final
Okay.
review. Their attorneys do a final review in what they said in May. And if the attorneys don't find any issues with the business, they haven't gone bankrupt or haven't, maybe the Better Business Bureau issues or the individual that you're looking to name the street after, if they haven't committed genocide or anything like that, they basically move it onto the floor, to the council,
Well,
city council floor.
but those are some things that to be aware of that, that I didn't think about. So a list of things that the attorneys look for. Maybe did you get that, Chris, from downtown or no?
Did I get a what? Can you repeat again?
Like, what exactly was it from downtown? Do you remember what you received exactly in terms of their guidelines that you sent to the committee?
I just sent it directly to the committee. I didn't
Alright.
look.
You know what, I'll send it to you too, Yahe. You don't have anything in writing, right?
No.
Okay, so I'll review it myself. I'll send it to you and anybody else that wants. I guess maybe a whole leadership committee if they want it.
Yeah, and Chris, while we're on here, if you can do me a favor, call Farah, see if we're able to vote on it next Thursday, and if we still have enough time to bring it forward. Can you call while we're on, and then maybe we can revisit it before we end the meeting?
Okay. So if you can vote on Thursday and if they can be able to submit it after the full board.
Yeah,
I mean,
correct.
you guys have to vote it in full board. You might vote it here, but still.
Yeah, if we vote on it at the full board, is it too late? Ask her
Okay.
that question, and ask her if we amended it to take out the 2 words, the bakery shop, out of it and just have Conti Way, would that be okay if we did a new application and voted on it next Thursday? Again, is that too late?
Okay.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Yep.
So, Jeremy, if
So
you want to
that's-
pull up the agenda again?
Yeah, just to be aware, there's nothing in the handbook related to.
Okay.
But I searched, like I said, searched the word street. I went through all 81 hits. I did co-naming, renaming, got nothing for either of those with the dash, without the dash.
Yeah, I think we did that already a few months ago, if you remember. We did that back in February. We looked through the handbook together.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I mean, I know we looked at the application. So, the agenda you want?
Yeah, just want to see what the next item is. I think, oh, you know what? Go back to the agenda. I think we were at item number 6.
Full
We'll just
board
continue going
agenda?
down yeah, the full board agenda. Sorry.
Okay, economic development.
Okay.
So they met last night. One no objection, one objection, and I think the committee or the chairman of the committee might want to bring these other ones. These are renewals. Well, they're not renewals. The license change is not a renewal, but it's an existing business. So unless there's questions about that, land use.
Do you know why they? Do you know why they object? Do you know why they objected to the second one?
There, I have the wrong location. It's Oak something. I will find I will get the correct wording, but I think there were some
Okay.
concerns with the police. I don't know how public the discussion is on that, or can be, but I'll get the correct location. I think it's on Tremont
Okay.
Avenue.
And item number 3, they didn't vote on it.
No, so remember, I'm only putting in black anything that was voted on committee. So for example, full board minutes for April was not voted on yet, or was not voted on any lower body. So it's unbolded. These two were
Yeah.
voted on last night. These two were tabled,
Okay.
for the review.
Okay. So we'll talk
land
when
use.
we'll figure out why they didn't.
They just didn't have enough information, to my knowledge. Veronica was at the meeting, so was Chris, but Chris is probably on the phone. If Veronica wants to chime in. If not, we'll move on, I guess.
Okay.
So land use motion.
Sorry, I couldn't get off mute.
Okay.
For those 2 matters, the applicants weren't there, and Joe wants to visit them before we vote on anything. He wants to go make sure that everything is in order. He wants to make a visit. The applicants weren't there, and I don't think we had their applications available either.
Okay,
So those are the reasons why they were tabled.
You gotta be aware of it, that you cannot table a motion because they are not there. They are not mandatory to be in a meeting, you know that.
Yes, I
Everybody
know
should
that,
know
but it was the chairman's decision to do that.
Right. Just, letting know everybody there. Mandatory, especially when it's renewal, they don't have to be there. Actually, even it's new one. The only thing that they have to supply us is the 30-day notice, nothing more. Either they can be there or not, it's up to them if they want to.
Okay. Good point, Chris.
I tried with Farah, but she didn't respond, so I'm gonna try again tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's Oak Park Venue 2. I got the correct thing in there finally.
Yes, for that, there were some police matter issues and structural issues, safety issues, I should say. It has to do about entrance, egress, like I mentioned, egress. And so that's why it was denied. Details is the chairperson, the chair of the committee can give the details.
But I think Chris just made a really good point. So in the past, I know we've objected to liquor licenses when they haven't come before the committee or board, but legally, I don't know if we're in our right there, because legally they do not have to come to any of our meetings.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Joe Thompson and I'll see if he can go there over the weekend. And if he does, then we'll just vote on it at the full board. And it won't make a difference if we vote on it on the full board or at committee.
To my
And I think
understanding,
Joe-
sorry to interrupt, Chair, sorry to interrupt, Chair. To my understanding, Joe and Mr. Purdom, they're going to do visits today around 6:30 or within this period of time. So maybe that's a possibility. That's why Mr. Thompson is not in the meeting today.
Yeah. Then we'll try our best not to delay it. If he makes the visit and everything works out well, we'll just vote on it at the full board. So I'll talk to him. I'm gonna see him next week, so I'll just talk to him and see what he wants to do. But most likely we'll bring it up for a vote.
Okay, so can we move on to land use?
Yep.
So Ken said he
Yeah.
couldn't hear anything. I
Yeah,
don't know if there's
No,
something with the
I
speaker.
finally got onto it. Yeah, can you hear me now,
Okay,
Jeremy?
okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, we're gonna have, we had a land use meeting. We're gonna be recommending that the board recommend approval of the text amendment, and we'll have the minutes for by the meeting.
Yeah, the minutes, I think I've already edited them. I could send those out beforehand.
I don't think so.
No, I just
Okay.
haven't sent them to you yet. I mean, Oral sent them to us. I don't know if he sent them to
Okay.
you.
He said
Harry
to me,
made-
I made some amendments to it, and I'm gonna send it back
Okay.
to oral.
I'll send it to you first then before I send it to anyone
Okay.
else.
Okay.
Okay. Nominating Elections Committee, Joanne Rubino is not here. It's a non-standing committee, but we do still have to legally required to take nominations for treasurer and sergeant at arms. And then transportation, they did not object, to my knowledge, to the Eid prayer or the block party. And I think that's it for motions, but we did have ethics meet, health, housing, parks, and public safety. We have anybody from those committees here? We got Hazel, I know. We got Lisa and Veronica. I don't know if John Johnson joined us yet or Joseph Pico. But be good to know, at least if I could mark them present for the meeting tonight. So I don't have any gallery session speakers signed up yet. I'm sure we will get some. And elected officials, we should be getting Congressman Bowman's office. He does represent a northern district. So he has been added to the agenda. He himself may try to come, but don't hold your breath.
All right. Looks good. So I'm gonna call for a motion to approve the full board agenda for next week's or this month's general meeting. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, discussion? Objections? Questions? All right, motion passes. Okay, what's next on the agenda, Jeremy?
Should be the calendar for June.
Yeah, if you can pull up the calendar, let's get that out of the way.
Just remember the full board agenda will be amended based on public signups for the gallery. And if Joe gives me an indication of how he'll propose a motion, I'll probably put it that way too, just to make it more seamless. June, okay, this is right. Parks, we good for the second? Do you have agenda items? Lisa? Housing?
Yes, we're good. I haven't come up with an agenda yet, but there will be items to discuss.
So if everybody notices a new change here, thanks to suggestion by Yahe, this here, if this click here, will be hyperlinked to each committee agenda. So why that's important to get the agendas in ASAP is because of the meeting location details, so long as we're meeting remotely. I mean, even then, even if we're not meeting remotely, it's still, the details are still there.
Yeah, and Jeremy, going back to the agenda for tonight's meeting, we had agendas, and what was the other item that we needed to discuss?
I think meeting minutes.
Meeting minutes, okay. So while you have the agenda up, I just want to get everybody's attention for a couple of minutes. Like Jeremy said, it's very, very, very important that you submit your agendas at least 1 week before the meeting. So for Lisa, for Parks, you have a meeting on the 2nd. Please try to get it by Wednesday, the 26th. Submit it to Jeremy. Even if it's a basic agenda, at least we have it in the calendar, and anyone who clicks on the calendar, clicks here, takes them to the sign in. And also the calendar is going to, or the agenda is going to say, if you would like any special accommodations, please contact the board office. I think it was 33 days in advance or 2 days in advance. So we want to comply with the ADA requirement to offer any special accommodations, and we can't do that if we get the agenda 1 or 2 days before the meeting. So I just want to ask everybody to please get an agenda ready for Jeremy and the staff at least 1 week before your meeting. So Lisa, if you can get him an agenda by the Wednesday, the 26th. For housing, for Hazel, if you can get Jeremy an agenda prior to the 27th or on the 27th, that would be great. Just try to set your calendars a week before to send an agenda up. And Jeremy and the staff, if you have the time and you're able to send them a reminder 1 week prior, just say, we're approaching the 1 week deadline. If you can get us an agenda, that would be great. Any comments, suggestions, issues with that?
So yeah, hey, just to add to it is, so just remember there's a delay in which we can publish this stuff. I have to rely on the city to put up PDF files, whether it's the calendar itself or the agenda. So that's all the more reason why I need. They're fairly good, but I've had instances where I couldn't bring up minutes because I was thinking they were on the website like a week later because they didn't see it or they forgot or whatever.
Yeah. And also, so when you do the minutes, please try to submit them. If I do the minutes, let's say I did the minutes tonight, I'll try to submit them tonight. It just makes things so much easier. Things are still fresh in your head and you don't forget. We've had issues with minutes. Just again, if you're able to submit the minutes within a couple of days after the meeting, it would be very, very helpful. And I know you're taking, and this is for the chairs, because I'm talking to the leadership of these committees. Assign someone to take the minutes. Don't take everything on yourself. So Veronica was nice enough to take minutes for today, but if she didn't, for this committee, I might just, take turns and just assign it to someone. So please do the same. Consider doing the same thing to for your committee. And also, when you do that, if there's a couple of members in your committee that don't say much, they don't, they're not as active as you want them, assign them for them to take the minutes. That way, you're looking for a way to get them motivated and to get them active in your committee. So that's that. Since we were on the calendar, I wanted to mention that. But any other issues with the calendar so far?
I definitely heard from Equity. Health is Joseph Bacoden still yet or no?
Sorry, I was talking. I forgot to unmute myself. It's Hazel.
Okay.
I'm definitely going to be having a meeting. Me and Michael Sharp from the Department of Finance are going to try to do a workshop with Community Board 12's Housing Committee. So we may be able to get that done by my date. If not, I will be changing the date. I'll have an agenda to you once we finalize with Community Board 12. And as far as my minutes go, I completely forgot to do them, so I'll do them tomorrow. But the problem is that I'm usually the only one that shows up to my committee meetings, and I was also running the WebEx, so I just was doing too much to take my minutes. But we did record them, and they are available on YouTube somewhere. So maybe I'll just write up a brief minutes and then just plug that in there, and anybody that wants to know what happened can just go on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, sounds good. And keep the minutes basic. It's, like you said, all these meetings are recorded. Keep the minutes basic. Put what needs to be there. Mandatory things we already know. The people that attended, anything that was voted on. But the other stuff can remain basic. So.
But Hazel,
And also Hazel, Jeremy, if you can put Hazel on. Hazel, are you okay with being when you're at the full board? If we give you a couple of minutes to try to recruit some members to see if anyone signs up for your committee, if you can get some new members and.
Yeah, I can do that. I've tried that in the past. And I don't understand why nobody wants to be on this committee. I mean, I don't know if people just don't like me, but that's besides the point. It's an important committee. We always have housing issues in this community. And, I try to get people to come and make presentations that are for the benefit of the whole community, whether they're tenants or homeowners. Like I really had a good homeowner meeting regarding flipping houses and stuff. And there was a lot of good information given out. So, I mean, if you don't like me, you don't like me, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be on my committee. So yeah, I'll try and do that.
Yeah, I don't think you're the issue. So, Jeremy, when you just remind me if I forget to give. We can do it under new business, or when we go to committee reports, you can mention it.
I think the other thing too is in the meantime, we should take some people off the committee, because for her to continually not have a quorum, not be able to approve minutes, and technically she shouldn't even have a meeting without a quorum. I mean, the problem is she always has a guest.
So can you provide her? Did you provide her with the attendance for the past 5 meetings? And if anyone has missed the past 5 meetings, just talk to Al and take them off the committee.
Yeah, she knows the attendance.
And I know who shows up and who doesn't.
All right, talk with Al, and maybe it's a good way to start fresh, do some recruiting. I think next month's meeting, which is June, we're going to have the new members in. So try to do some recruiting this month, and then try next month, and we'll see who we get.
Well, it's not like I haven't been trying. I did manage to get one of the new members to join. So, thank goodness that we haven't had anything to vote on, because, and usually it's just me. So.
Yeah,
but,
I know you've been trying, but have you offered coffee and, donuts and dinner or anything like that?
No.
Well, you got to try a little harder,
Well, we're COVID, I mean, I can't do much with virtual coffee and donuts, so.
Cryptocurrency.
I mean, yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but isn't that the chairman he assigns people. Once you're assigned, that you got to go there. It's kind of mandatory because it's the bylaws in which it says that you have to attend full board meetings and committee meetings. So to me, it's
Yeah,
mandatory. If you don't make it in the
agree.
meetings, then what's the point of being a board member? Sorry to say that.
Yeah, I agree. But you know what? If you can get people happy with the committee they're in, I think, that approach is the best approach. But I totally agree with you. At the end of the day, you volunteered for this. So,
You already said it too, yeah. Hey, basically Hazel should volunteer people to do minutes. Even if they weren't at the meeting, they can look at the recording, right?
yeah.
So, do you want to continue with the calendar?
Yep, we're continuing with the calendar. I don't see any other issues. Does anyone have any issues? If you can scroll down, I think the 24th, we have the general meeting.
And if I don't hear from health, I'll reach out to Sandy, but otherwise I'll take that off the calendar. So everybody else, economic development should have issues. Public safety, do you have anything lined up, Veronica? No?
Yeah, we may have a presentation, but it's pending, but I'll let you know and get you an agenda a week before if we are going to have it, definitely, but I think we will be.
Okay. The 25th, 4th, the only holiday is Juneteenth.
Jeremy, I think health may have a presentation. I think we have a presentation. I'll reach out to Sandy tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So I'll close the calendar.
Yep, motion to approve June's calendar. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Veronica. Discussion? Objections? Abstentions? All right, motion passes. So moving on to the next item we have here is for the gallery session, we have the Pelham Parkway Task Force meetings. I think we have a guest that's here today. Is the guest on?
Joanna, are you still here?
Yep, I'm still here. Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing,
I think
Joanna?
is it- Good.
Nice to meet you. Hey, and everybody, how are you doing today?
Good, good. So reference the Pelham Parkway Task Force meetings. We've had a couple of members of the public that wanted to get them started again. We've had also a couple of people that had some concerns. I'm one of those that I had some concerns with the traffic, and we went for ways. I know it's been mentioned at the 49th Precinct Community Council, we can get some more traffic agents, but the traffic there is pretty bad on Boston Road approaching Pelham Parkway. So a couple of members wanted to activate the meeting again to discuss those issues. That's the biggest, the traffic, the congestion.
So
usually Community Board 11 hosts those meetings. So we were looking for a way. I know we host season. So we were looking for.
that's not an accurate
can-
statement.
no?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's not an accurate statement. So
Okay.
this task force meeting was asked for by the community board. I understand it might have been before Jeremy's time, but CB11 was the host, and will continue to be the host if they choose to do so. DDC is a volunteer that attends the meeting and gives updates. But CB11 is the host and is in full control on when they're held and who can attend. Hello?
Yeah, I lost reception for a little bit. So whose meeting is it?
It's Community Board 11s. They are the one that requested it from DDC. Maria, we can't hear you. I think you're muted. You're still muted. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe just a little background on this issue. So we have Pelham Parkway, right, the phase 2, which is current project. And then we had a prior project, phase 1. Jimmy Vaca was the district manager at the time. I mean, I'm sorry, John Fretta was the district manager at the time. He had requested that a task force meeting be put together with different agency reps and community leaderships to talk about the project and again, address any issues. So when we were starting phase 2 of this project, once again, he was still the district manager at the time. He had asked us to, he wanted to continue these meetings. And we're like, sure, no problem. So prior to COVID, prior to virtual meetings, the community board was gracious enough to even host the meetings physically at the community board. And we attend these types of meetings. We're asked to attend these types of meetings all the time, different projects all over the city. So again, we recommend who should be part of these meetings, the task force meetings, and who should be invited, which are leadership roles within the community. This is not a general public meeting, right? So not just anybody can attend task force meetings. They're not general public meetings where anybody in the public can come. It's really specific to people of leadership roles within the community, whether it's president of a civic association or hospital liaison or, a NYCHA Tenants Association president or something like that, or their representative. So that's more or less how these task force meetings, sometimes they're called, stakeholder update meetings, but that's normally how it is. TDC does not really lead these types of meetings, although we are a major player in this this forum. And so again, sometimes it's community boards who take this on. Sometimes it's an elected official who is the host, and like I said, they call it whatever they call it. Sometimes it's called a task force meeting. So just to put a little background on the history of the task force and how Pelham Parkway Task Force meeting kind of evolved, or in this case, devolved. But this is basically how, what has kind of brought us to this discussion today. So again, we defer to the community board. And if we want to have task force meetings, we're there. If we're not going to have task force meetings, it's fine. I mean, I'm okay with attending a meeting to update the public, but it has to be, something that makes sense for everyone, I think, and I think that's pretty much all I have to say on the matter. So I think we just want to make sure that, that we're accurate in the statement or in how our understanding of the task force meeting.
Okay, so how many task force meetings do you usually hold? Let's say for the month of April.
So it
how many
varies.
do you hold?
It varies from project to project. Sometimes we have them monthly, sometimes we have them quarterly. Again, it depends on what's going on the project. I mean, sometimes we may start off monthly and then the project's going smoothly. A lot of times these task force meetings are issue oriented, right? So if things are going smoothly, there aren't any issues, sometimes they just drop off altogether. And that's been the case, in many projects all over the city.
The reason I
Other
ask is-
times we lessen the frequency, right? So it starts off monthly, maybe bi-monthly, then it goes to quarter. So it can change, it can vary.
Okay, now you said community boards can be the hosts, elected officials.
Correct.
Who else can host it?
Sometimes the bid, there's like a business improvement district and it's like a commercial project or a plaza project, for instance, they tend to be the maintenance partner. And, there's a lot of other things going on in the commercial area, whether it's public or private construction or developments. And, it doesn't just have to be very project specific. In this case, this task force meeting is all about Pelham Parkway. But there have been instances where there's a lot of different types of construction or other, other things going on in the community, and we need better coordination among those different entities. Like, for example, you had MTA, who's doing the project by the train station, right? And then you have us, and then if God forbid another project showed up, then perhaps that's another task force, right? So it really depends on, what's going on in a particular community, and is it project specific? Is it multi-project, or, and again, obviously many different agencies may be involved, right? So it could be a DDC project, could be an EDC project, could be a HPD project. And then, you're just kind of bringing all of those entities to the table so that there's better coordination and communication among the different, projects and stakeholders involved, whoever has that vested interest. But again, as a city agency, we tend to not be the host of a meeting because, that's just the way it's kind of been for us. What you want us to come, we're invited, we're there, we're at the table,
Can neighborhood organizations host a meeting?
If they choose to, yes, they can. A civic association has done it. Actually, we're doing one in Brooklyn right now, in Park Slope or Brooklyn Heights, something like that. So, yeah. Civic association, if they want to have a task force meeting, or they can call it, in that case, they would call it sort of like a stakeholder update meeting. They can choose to be the host. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
And I think it was the best of intentions, right, to have the meeting, right? So we can talk about issues, and the transparency is there and all of that.
Okay.
So
very good information. Thank you very much, Maria and Joanna. That was great information. Jeremy,
do you want an update about that intersection?
No, not just that intersection, but being out there on the project as a whole, if that's not too much to ask.
Yeah.
Sure. I did prepare something, just in case you asked. Just briefly, to touch base specifically about that intersection. Diana, I believe that you emailed me about specifically the traffic in that area, and I had responded to you about requesting additional traffic agents. I've been there personally, and I've seen that there are additional traffic agents. We do have 3 lanes open on the westbound Main Road, and all of the lanes were open on Boston Road, but there was some welding work that was required for today, tomorrow, and Monday. So just for those 3 days, there will be a lane closure during the workday on Boston Road, but it will be opened up after working hours, which can be to about 4 p.m. But let me go ahead to the written. So to give you a brief update, we have completed the tree planting in the North and South malls between Stillwell Avenue and White Plains Road. Approximately a little over 320 trees have been planted. We've also completed the excavation and installation of the 48-inch trunk water main on Pelham Parkway westbound Main Road between White Plains Road and Boston Road. This includes all of the chamber work, hydrants and catch basins and so on and so forth. We have continued the excavation and installation of the 48-inch trunk water main on Boston Road between Pelham Parkway westbound Main Road and North Service Road. As I stated, there will be lane closures during the workday tomorrow and Monday, as far as the contractor has advised me. We will not be back until approximately August of this year. And that's due to some of the pipe needs to be fabricated. In other words, there was a field condition that we ran into. The pipe needs to be customized, and that does take time. So that crew that's at that intersection is moving on to a different work activity while that pipe is being made, and we'll be back roughly in around August, September, the latest. Next, we've continued the installation of catch basins, sewers, and shoe connections on the North Service Road between Throop Avenue and White Plains Road. We've also continued roadway restoration on the North Service Road between Throop Avenue and Bronxwood Avenue. This work includes the installation of new curbs, sidewalks, pedestrian ramps, and driveways. This work is weather and field conditions dependent. So on the weeks that it's very rainy, we may be slightly delayed. And we have began the installation of the sewer on Kruger Avenue between Pelham Parkway North and Astor Avenue. This work operation will be completed by this week. Upcoming, we will continue the trunk water main work on Boston Road. We will be going across Boston Road, heading towards Pelham Parkway North Service Road. But again, that pipe is being fabricated right now, so we won't be back until approximately August 2021. We will continue the installation of catch basin sewers and chute connections on the Pelham Parkway North Service Road. We'll also continue roadway restoration. We will begin the installation of the pigmented bus lane. I know that you guys have been waiting for that. The time has come, and the contractor said that they will have that done at the end of next month, early or from the end of next month to July. So June, July is when they are planning to go ahead with that work operation. And of course, I will always email everyone any advisories notifying of the restrictions that we will have in place. If you would like to be included onto my NNN, if you aren't already, please add your email address into the chat. Or if you have my email, go ahead and send me an email so that you can be included and be updated with my weekly schedules and my advisories. Also, just to put it out there, I know that there has not been a monthly task force meeting. However, I've had multiple people contact me. I get back to everyone relatively quick. I take pride that I will not leave your questions unanswered. So if you do need anything, if we don't resume the meetings, I'm still available if you do have any questions or issues and concerns. That's all I have for now. Does anyone have a question?
So Joanna, I just want to attest to what you just said, and I think Chris can too, since Chris assists me with anything related to the project. But you are extremely responsive to not just me, but to others, because you're constantly CCing me on email.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I've heard
concur.
that as well.
You are very good. You are very good at it.
Thank you so much.
Joanna, I have some questions. And
Hold
Maria-
on, Diana.
Uh-huh.
Diana, just 1 second.
Okay.
So let me just ask a couple of questions first before you go, and then I'll open it up for the public. So I know, so you said tomorrow they're going to do some work, then it's going to be halted. This is Boston Road approaching Pelham Parkway until August. Is that what you said?
So we opened up the lanes on Boston Road, I'm gonna say about a week and a half ago. So the lanes have been open. Today, we had to do some welding work inside of the pipe. So there was a lane closure for the safety of the workers. But it was during the workday, and it will continue tomorrow. And they should be done tomorrow, but just in case, Monday as well, during the workday, you can expect a lane closure on Boston Road. And then again, after the workday, it will be reopened. Did that answer you? Oh.
Yeah, so
There will be no lane closures on Boston Road until August. So it will be fully open until we come back. Once that pipe is made and we're ready to do that work again, I will submit a new lane closure advisory. And if you'd like, I can send a separate email to you, just kind of giving you a heads up that the work is coming personally and aside from the advisory, just so, you know, be very transparent that we will be returning to that area.
okay, so because when I travel northbound on Boston Road, that left turn onto Bronx Park East before that eye clinic has been shut, and I got to go up to White Plains Road to make a few circles. Is that going to remain closed?
It wasn't closed when I was there today, but I can go ahead and check and have the contractor reopen it by the weekend.
Yeah, because I tried to make that turn, I think, when was it? Last week, Thursday, and it was closed. Prior to Thursday, it was kind of open where I was making the left turn. Maybe I wasn't supposed to, but I was squeezing myself in, but it was totally closed. So So you're saying starting this weekend, we should not have all the lanes, or the traffic flow should be almost back to normal or back to normal until August.
Right, right. I'll talk to my contractor about that. There may have been, I have to check what you're referring to, because there are also DOT, they're not barricades. They're little, I don't really know the word for it, I'm sorry. The white,
Yeah. I know what you're
little-
talking about. Yeah, I couldn't,
Right.
you know, they've been blocking that left turn. I don't know why, which causes
Okay.
more traffic to go up to White Plains Road to make the
Right,
left
right.
turn there.
I'm not sure if those were put in place because of us, so let me look into that and I'll get back to you and see what we can do. If you want to provide your email address, I can give you my response and CC Jeremy as well, if you'd like.
Okay, that sounds good.
So
My
there's some
questions are
people-
done. Yeah.
So yeah, hey, I just want, Joanna, if you noted, there's some email addresses. Somebody wants to be added probably to your distribution list in the chat. I can share.
I've been writing them down, the
Okay.
ones that are in the chat, so whoever would like to be on my notification list, please add it. So far, I have Diana Finch, I have Lisa Soto, I have Friends of Pelham Parkway, Lisa QW, and CB11 Yahe. I'm not gonna try to pronounce your last name.
All right, so that sounds good. Jeremy, you had anything before I open it up to the other committee members? And
I do not. I don't know if Chris did. Since Chris was running the task force meetings, I guess since last year sometime.
all right, I got another 10 minutes before I have to go.
Fine.
Thank you, Chris. Veronica, if this meeting goes past 8:25, please take over if you don't mind. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
going to open it
that's
up to
fine.
the committee members. Any committee members have anything reference to Pelham Parkway Task Force? All right, I'm going to open it up to the public. Ms. Finch, you had something?
Yes, I wanted to apologize to Joanna and Maria because I didn't understand. I thought that the DEC convened the meetings and was running the meetings. So I didn't realize that it was the community board. I had come on rather late as the representative from the Bronx Park East Community Association. But my big concern was they were abruptly ended with no explanation to us as to why, right at a moment when a lot of the construction and the concerns and traffic problems were landing right on the Bronx Park East Community Association. And I feel that we have been really underserved by the community board. I went to at least 3 community board members, meetings, committee meetings and full meeting to raise the issues about the traffic and never got a clear answer as to who I was supposed to be in the absence of these task force meetings, who I was supposed to be reaching out to. I reached out to our new city council person. We were without a city council person while a lot of this was happening. I just think the community board let us down, and I definitely want to continue some sort of regular, consistent informational meeting with the DDC and perhaps the MTA when they're involved. Joanna, there was so much information just now in that summary that you gave us. I tried to take notes, but I don't think I got it all. And also,
You can email me.
I understand that things are not, I will email you. I understand that there'll be a sort of a hiatus until August, but I'd like to have some kind of meeting maybe in early August, just so that we get a preview of what's coming up. Because my understanding is that this project is running through 2023. And, you know, okay, construction won't start again until the end of August, but people in this community would like to have a little bit of a heads up so they know what's coming, so they don't wake up one morning and there's a huge traffic jam outside and horns are blaring. It's
So-
just not good for the community.
So a couple of things. Joanna, you know Joanna, she is the liaison. She's been the liaison for about 1.5 years now, right? Joanna, yeah. And when we put out a lot of information to the community, we have advisories that are issued whenever there's a different work operation in a particular location. And so that gives you the what, why, how long, and who to contact. So all of the information that we put out always has a contact information, has Joanna's information, email and telephone number. We also have a weekly bulletin that's issued every Friday afternoon or no later than Monday morning that highlights all the work that's going to take place the coming week. So we do that on a Friday. In addition to that, we also have a newsletter that we issue for this project bi-monthly because we know that there's a lot going on. It's a very active, project. Most of our newsletters are issued only on a quarterly basis. So for Pelham Parkway, we actually do it bi-monthly. So you actually get a newsletter more often than many projects in the city. And then in addition to that, we were having task force meetings. I think at some point it did drop off. We didn't have meetings for quite a few months or more. And then we were starting a new phase on the service road that was going to impact the eye center. And so we kind of started that back up again because we wanted to make sure that, everyone was looped in. So, like I said, and this is pretty much how it happens. Sometimes it just drops off because it's very issue oriented. And so if things are not happening or nothing very significant is changing and everything is pretty, status quo, then they kind of drop off. So I apologize if, there was any, we missed you and you weren't receiving any of our information. And we can also go to your civic association. We do that from time to time. So we can actually address your membership directly. Especially if it's taking place in that particular area of the community, and it's very specific to your location, we can certainly come to you.
Well, and it's also, the whole Pelham Parkway North area from White Plains Road.
All the way to Stillwell. I know we have a mile
And-
long. Yeah.
Right. And the businesses that are along White Plains Road, and Boston Road, that little stretch from Pelham Parkway North to like Astor Avenue, they have a lot of concerns too, and they're anxious about what's going to be happening in August, September. And how
That's
they're
very
going-
interesting you mentioned that because Joanna and I think it was just a couple of weeks ago, right, Joanna? I think we had talked about reaching out to the business. Did you reach out? And I don't think that you got a response back.
So I personally went to these businesses a few months ago while we were doing water main work. Luckily for them, we had to stop right before their location due to field conditions. But I did make them all aware that in order for us to continue our water main work, at some point in time, there will be a water shutdown. I said, if there was any issues, to please give me, please contact me. I gave them my email address, my phone number. If there is no written communication or objection, there's nothing I can do. If there was a concern made about it, about, any upcoming construction, water shutdown, anything at all, I would be able to take that, whatever was written to me, submit it to my office for further review. If there's nothing written, I can't work with them.
Or you can call, right? They can call you.
Right, and I verbally have told all those businesses many times. I've spoken to many managers, and I can't do anything based off of just verbal, disagreement.
Right, and
So, I mean,
we
I think
also
their
track
anxiety-
all of the complaints too.
Right. I think their anxiety is just, it's nothing specific. It's more, oh, there's going to be disruption. I don't know, and we consider them part of Bronx Park East Community Association too, and have good relationships with a lot of them. So, you know, we
I
need black
understand.
I
them
just
in.
want to chime
It's
in.
not easy to have frequent, consistent meetings.
Okay, so we got a lot of information exchanged here. We got a lot. And we were able to exchange emails. So I would like to move to the next gallery speaker. Do we have any other gallery speakers?
Yes, Yahe, it's Roxanne Delgado. I'll make this pretty short since I know it's getting late. I'd just like to say, are you able to hear me first?
Yes, we can hear
Okay,
you, Ms.
thank
Delgado.
you. Okay, I'm so tired because I have not slept since this morning. I've been working nonstop. I'd like to say first, Joanna, this is why I think meetings are needed, because you just mentioned something about the bus lane, and that just triggered my memory. A few residents just recently told me about this bus lane, that because it's not paved, we have actually cars using it as an additional lane. And that's been an issue because it only creates traffic jams. So this is why I think we need meetings, because sometimes, and I don't like to brag because I'm not the type of person, I don't like egos, to be honest. But Friends of Pelham Parkway has grown so much that I can't even manage it anymore. We have co-captains in different buildings who keep eye out for me. But yes, I'm the person behind the emails, because unfortunately, no one else wants to send out emails. Yes, I am the person that sometimes reaches out to media. But when it comes to Friends of Pelham Parkway, it's not just me. We have so many people in NYCHA that are very active with us. We have people across 735 Pelham Parkway North. We have people on Holland and Kruger, Chris, Gwen, that they take care of the gardens. They tell me everything that goes out in the parkway, and they relay issues to me they didn't want me to bring forth to you since the meetings were not open to the public. So this is not just about me. This is about my community, and it seems like Pelham Parkway North is the dumping ground, because now when it reaches NYCHA, and this is affecting Kruger Avenue, affecting Holland Avenue, affecting Bronxwood Avenue, it's going to continue ongoing. And yes, issues just come up, and sometimes we need these meetings because someone brings something up to the table that triggers something else, and then someone else brings up. I mean, because I think the emails are great. I'm not saying you don't respond to emails, because actually you do respond to all the emails, and I thank you for that. I do appreciate your time in responding to many, many emails. I know there can be many sometimes. But at the same time, we do need meetings. I cannot say how much we do need meetings. That's it. Thank you.
All right.
I know Bob Press had a question.
Hold on.
And
Jeremy, I just want to mention a couple of things. So I understand your concern, and I don't want to dismiss it, Ms. Finch and Ms. Delgado. Your concerns, we understand them. We acknowledge them. Right now, we did make a decision to end those meetings. We have more information about those meetings because I didn't understand those meetings. I thought initially it was a community board 11 and it must be a community board 11. Now we have other options, the elected officials, the neighborhood associations, Bronx Park East Association can call for invite them to their meetings. They have been very responsive to emails. We're going to go into a point where nothing's really going to happen. And Ms. Finch, Joanna is going to email you prior to it starting again. So like you said, you don't wake up in the morning and you're surprised. Ms. Delgado, we will hold to our decision to not continue to host those meetings. But if the meetings do come up and an elected official or a community organization, a civic organization was to host a meeting and the community board was invited, we would attend. I know that it doesn't address all your concerns, but I do want to acknowledge everything that you said. And we'll go, I think, Mr. Press, you had some?
First, I'd like to thank you for acknowledging. That's a great start. And I'm being sarcastic, but it's been in the past, no one seemed to acknowledge anything I say, but I appreciate that. Second, I do disagree, but you know what? It's okay because we are meant to disagree. We're not supposed to agree with each other 100%. It doesn't mean we're against each other. I disagree with your decision, but I do like the options. Maybe I could touch base with an elected official to ask if they're willing to host this meeting. So thank you for that.
Yes, and we will try our best to attend that meeting.
Can I speak now, Yahi?
Yeah, Bob, go ahead.
Okay, as far as the meeting goes, and I sent the board this notice, the community board is under the impression that the task force was a community board 11 committee, when according to the city charter, section 2800, community boards, subsection 22, letter I, a community board committee must have a member of the committee as its chair, and the meeting shall be open to the public. Jeremy and any other member of the staff who hosted the meetings are not a member of the board. They are an employee of the board. They work for the board. No member of the task force was a chair of the board. So also the meetings were closed to the public. So it was a private meeting. Therefore, the committee, this was not a committee of Community Board 11. It could not expel anyone. It could not end something that it never was in charge of. The Pelham Parkway Task Force had to come from DDC, which is the lead agency. And this is per City Charter, Chapter 28 again. And I'm going to pull rank on you since I've been through these before. I was on the community board 6 years. Ms. Santana will agree with me because we worked on this. All right. Now, I was placed supposedly on this committee by Jeremy. Then I was removed by Ms. Rojas because I was a member of the media. I called Ms. Santana up and she immediately put me back on as a member of DDC. Since DDC is the lead agency, DDC is the one who is in charge of this committee, not the community board. The community board can, but it did not have a member as the chair. Okay, it must have a member as the chair. Now, I'm going to give you another problem when it comes to westbound Pelham Parkway. Once you pass White Plains Road, all of a sudden there are now hydrants in what used to be the far right and far left lane. So what was 5 lanes is now down to 3 lanes. And when the bus stop is replaced, it's going to be down to 2 lanes when the buses stop to board and unboard. All right. So this is why you need this task force, and it must be held monthly. It is a requirement because this is a capital project under the city charter, and under the city charter, a capital project must have a task force. And Ms. Santana, you know that because we've done this in Board 8. And I wait for this.
Bob, I just want to clarify, Bob, that I did not, I didn't really have an authority of who attends or doesn't attend. I called and I think we reached an understanding of in what capacity you were attending the meeting. Were you attending the meeting in the capacity of a member of the press, or were you, which hat were you wearing? Or were you a community board or resident that was attending the meeting? And so when you made it clear that you weren't attending as a member of the press, because we have a different protocol when it involves that, then I said, okay, then there shouldn't be an issue with you participating in the task, in the task force meeting. So I just want to clarify that. That wasn't, I didn't really, I just wanted clarification just for our own benefit, because then we would need to have a member from our press unit attend as well if you were there as a member of the press. So just wanted to clarify that.
Just to clarify back to you that there have been articles in newspapers, but they have not been written by me. They have been written by other people who were on that task force. And I am the one who lived the closest, basically, if not some of the people on the north side all the way down by Eastchester Road, because I'm 1 block off of Pelham Parkway, as opposed to several blocks off of Pelham Parkway. So I'm impacted, and I drive there almost every day. So I'm impacted the most too. And I do use that side lane where the buses go when it's empty, because the traffic backs up all the way back to almost Bronxdale Avenue sometimes. And that shouldn't be. And now you're going to make it worse by taking lanes away.
Okay, so Lisa Watkins want to ask a question. Lisa, are you still in?
Yes, I have a quick question. I live on Astor Avenue, 1 block off of course, North Pelham Parkway North. And so I woke up one morning, like you said, surprise, surprise, and I'm driving down Astor Avenue and they started paving. They started ripping up the street. Now I understand.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you. That was not us. That's DOT, ma'am.
Oh, it's not you? Okay, because
that was not our project.
Okay, so I just wanted to know. Don't get offensive. I just wanted to know who.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I just want to tell you before you I don't want you to continue, I just want to let you know in advance that that was DOT, because I was frustrated myself waking up and the entire Astor Road,
Yes.
Astor Avenue was ripped up from all the way from Williamsbridge to White Plains Road. And I
Exactly.
avoid Pelham Parkway because of the bumps.
Exactly.
And I know. I didn't mean to get defensive. I didn't mean to come off that way. I just wanted to clarify before you
Question,
got
Joanna,
into it.
though? Can I ask you a question, Joanna? Do you know why they haven't paid from Esplanade to Seymour? Because I live between Throop and Pearsall, and that we have potholes everywhere, and they haven't paid for section. I just was wondering.
I can handle that. We can, Joanna, Chris and I can look into it for you,
Okay.
Lisa, if you just send me an email
Okay.
with your request. But I
Okay.
also want to chime in with you and Joanna that I had to deal with the same problem with DOT
Okay.
and ASP.
Is that Jeremy
just
I'm
send me
speaking
an
to?
Yeah, it's Jeremy. Just send me an
Okay,
email.
thank you, Jeremy.
So then after that, George Zolch, you had a question?
Just a comment. I wanted to say that I was very happy with the way the Parks Department did the planting of trees. I thought it was really an exemplary planting. They began early in the season and didn't leave the trees out to dry out. They took advantage of the coolness and the copious rains we had, as proven by the very good canopies that have developed on these new trees. And they dug with a backhoe, real holes, and did the mounding, the mulching, whatever. The other thing is they seem to take to heart the comment I made about bringing in heavy equipment. I understand they're understaffed and they were bringing in heavy equipment such as tractors and these smaller things you sit in that have hoods and coverings over the cutters, and was scoring up bases of the trees, damaging trees. I'd sent pictures to Jeremy and to some others. And it seems now they've pulled back and they leave a little grass, growing around the tree. And I did see 2 weeks ago workers out there with handheld power equipment to do final work. So I don't know if that final work will continue, but at least they're preserving the trees and doing their best. The big thing now is watering. And I understand that's up to the contractor. Joanna emailed me today that the contractor started the watering today and will continue tomorrow. So it's all about water, water, water. But it was a great job. I thank the park person there. I thank them.
I'll make the team aware that you guys are happy. It's very it's great to hear. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, Yahe had to step off for a bit, or actually he had to sign off. So is there anybody else that has anything they need to ask or speak about?
I just want to add anyone that has any specific questions about specific work operations or in general, anything that you guys would like to know, please contact me. I am very accessible. I'm very accommodating. There is no such thing as a stupid question. Just feel free to ask me and I'll get back to you. And if I don't know the information, I'll let you know that and I'll find it and get back to you somehow. And Mr. Press, if you'd like to send me an email about the hydrants, I can explain to you. And we will not be going down to 2 lanes, just to clarify. So please send me an email and I'll give you the correct information.
I sent you photos, and you will be at 2 lanes when buses stop there. Thank you.
It won't be, but thank you. Thank you so much.
Maybe I should talk to the mayor then. I saw him today.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Joanna, for that information. Let's move on to old business. Is there any old business for the committee?
I'm sorry, Joanna, can you put your email address in the chat if you don't mind?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no.
And thank you, Maria, too. I think Maria left. Thank you, Maria, for showing up.
I'm still here. I'll be leaving shortly. Just putting my name in the chat in case anybody wants it.
Just thank you for your input as well.
You're welcome.
Okay, so no new business? Okay, so I guess that's it for the meeting. Joanna and Maria, thank you so much, very much for joining us tonight and giving us all this information. We really appreciate you taking the time to do so.
Question?
No problem. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Rich?
Just a quick question, just a thought.
Yeah.
I know it's been kind of somewhat decided on the street coding, but really until you change the bylaws on the application, you really have no rationale not to consider the proposal as written. So, I mean, if it's been done once, obviously there was an exception, of course, as we know, White Plains Road between Kruger and Rylander. And so that's my concern. Until you actually change your application or the bylaws to state that explicitly, I don't see, or I don't get the rationale, the reasoning why. So from that sense, from that perspective, that's my concern. And like I said, obviously there would be time to obviously change your bylaws or your application after the fact once it's done. But until then, I don't see the rationale to say, for you to say you can't accept it as written, as it was proposed. So that's my concern.
So
Yes,
Rich?
Go ahead, Jeremy.
I was just saying, Rich, why don't you sign up for the gallery for a full board meeting?
Mm-hmm.
So, and whether or not, if anything transpires in between, if you want to take your name off, then you're welcome to do that. But maybe you should sign up to speak in the gallery next week.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Dee, sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, no, thank you. I was about to suggest the same thing about speaking at the full board. I know that Yahe said that we were tabling it and the committee was going to review it again and maybe make suggestions on changing the application. But he's absolutely welcome to speak at the full board. So if there's no new business, Jeremy, do we need a motion to adjourn?
No, if there's nothing else, 8:39, the meeting ends.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank
safe night.
you. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night, thank you.